and I think it's probably time to get going. So I'm going to spend just a minute introducing Bridgetown and myself, just so you guys are oriented with where I'm coming from. And then we'll dig into some lifetime calculation or lifetime value calculation, particularly how to do that by cohort and how I've seen that be valuable for our customers. I've timed this out at about 20, 25 minutes, so it should be a nice high and tight presentation. And I've kind of assumed not a lot of prior knowledge. So if this is too basic for some of you out there, I apologize. We're just going to start from first principles, talk about lifetime value, and really dig into how it can help you make better decisions. So my name is Peter Titterington. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Bridgetown. So Bridgetown is a platform that does automated insights, and we're really focused on e-commerce right now. So our first commercial product is a integration with Shopify and Google Analytics, where we pull data and analyze it for you. It's kind of like having another analyst on the team. So a little bit. Oh, next slide. There we go. So our philosophy at Bridgetown is we want to help people make better, faster decisions. So we're not a like sandbox where we kind of give you tools and leave you to fend for yourself. We're really aimed at helping our customers make better decisions every day with their data. And we try to use bots for bot stuff so that humans can do human stuff. So pulling data, manipulating data, running algorithms, sorting through massive amounts of data. That's all stuff we build bots to do, because we want to leave humans to actually be running their business, taking the insights they're getting from machines and using them to do the stuff that humans are good at. And the third thing is we want to make it really, really easy. So again, we want to provide you with actually the insights rather than the tools. So that's where we're coming from as a company. That's our philosophy. I hope that kind of informs how we present lifetime value calculations. So there's a bunch of types of questions that our Shopify Google Analytics integration addresses around growth, profitability, operations metrics, et cetera. But what we're really going to dig into today is lifetime value. So as I've gotten more into the world of e-commerce, attending Shopify seminars and getting to know the community a little bit, this has been a really hot topic. And I was really surprised before I was locked in my house. I was really surprised at the last one I went to where they were talking about lifetime value calculations and saying like, yeah, you can't really get them directly from Shopify. And it's maybe not that reliable when you look at your GA. So if you want to calculate lifetime value, here's a link to a blog post that shows you how to build a giant spreadsheet and try to do it. I was like, we really need to make this a lot easier for people. And so we started building an automated lifetime value calculator as part of our platform, and we've really seen our customers enjoy that. So I thought, hey, this seems to be a topic there's a lot of energy around, and people have hunger to know it, but have a tough time calculating it. So that's why we put together this webinar to share how to do it, what it means, and how it can help you make better decisions. So here's our basic agenda. What is lifetime value? Why is it important? I'm going to show you how to calculate it in simple cases just to make it really concrete. And then we'll get into some cohort lifetime value calculations and how they can help you make better decisions, particularly around allocating marketing funds. Okay, so what is lifetime value? I found this hilariously dry definition on what's actually a very good Wikipedia page, but I thought it just was worth reading. So customer lifetime value can be defined as the monetary value of a customer relationship based on the present value or the projected future cash flows from the customer relationship. So thank you, Wikipedia. If you went to business school, that probably makes sense to you. And if you didn't, it probably sounds like total jargon, and it kind of is. But if you strip all of the businessy jargon out of that, we're really just talking about the value a customer contributes over the course of their interaction with your company. Lifetime is like a little bit morbid because hopefully, you know, the customer continues to live and thrive even after they're done buying products from you. But it's really that concept of from the first time somebody interacts with you to the last time they interact with you, how much value did they contribute? So typically, lifetime value curves have this pleasant sort of parabola on its side shape. So just to get you oriented, because we're going to be looking at several of these lifetime value curves. On the x-axis of this chart, you'll see numbers running from 0 to 28. So that indicates months since first purchase. So when a customer buys their first thing from you, that starts the clock on their lifetime value at month 0. The next time they buy something from you, you know, if it's 3 months later, then they'll have some value contributed at month 0, some value contributed at month 3, for example. On the y-axis, we have the amount of value being contributed. And this is cumulative over time. So in this example chart, we're looking at value in terms of sales in this case. So the initial average purchase price is about $400. And then over time, the customer spends another $300 over the course of 28 months. So the lifetime value of an average customer for this data set is about $700 over the course of 2 years and 4 months. So that's just helping you get oriented with the basics of how these curves look. And you know, this is typically you see it flatten out and then go totally flat at the end when the customer stops buying anything. So just to kind of lock that concept in, I prepared a couple of like kind of extreme examples to just really hammer the concept home. So example 1 is a purely transactional customer. So this kind of dark blue line here that's totally flat. A flat curve means the customer bought one thing one time and never came back. So, you know, obviously I'm sitting here at home like we probably all are, and I just bought a nice microphone to do some home recording. And I bought it from a boutique microphone shop, and I'm probably never going to be back. So as far as that shop is concerned, you know, my lifetime value is a flat line where I bought something that was kind of expensive and then I disappeared forever. So the other example, like the converse example, would be a subscription situation. So, you know, back in the day when I bought a Gillette Mach 3 razor, before my quarantine beard started to grow out and be so lustrous, you know, maybe you buy a razor for $12, but then every month you're going back and buying like $30 worth of razor replacements. So in that case, your lifetime value would start pretty low and then continue to move up and to the right as you continue to come back and buy subscriptions, which is why subscription businesses are, you know, particularly software as a service type stuff has been so hot, because you get a really good lifetime value from your customer. Typically, lifetime value curves would never go down. I suppose you could like have an edge case where you're getting a lot of returns and your lifetime value is going down over time. But, you know, in a normal case, lifetime value only goes up over time as the consumer spends more cumulative dollars with you. Okay, so that's kind of like what it is. Now, why is that a good thing to know? Say the most common use of the lifetime value metric is that it really brackets the amount of money that you sort of have available to spend on acquiring customers. So, you know, cost per acquisition or CPA, that's like a whole nother topic for a whole different webinar. And we're not really going to get into that today, but if you weigh your CPA and your margin and all of the costs that go into acquiring and servicing a customer against the value of that customer over their lifetime, it gives you really an idea how much wiggle room you have. And if I go back to like the average curve here, so if this company was spending, say, $500 to acquire this customer, they would say, okay, well, our break-even point is right around the 5-month mark. So maybe we're spending $500 to acquire this customer, and the value of that customer hits $500 at 5 months, and then they become profitable after that 5-month mark. So it's a way of looking at the business that is related to, but actually kind of working independent of more traditional metrics like, average order value and basket size and pricing, more operational metrics, because it's really focused on what the relationship with the customer is worth and how much you can invest to build a relationship with the customer. Also, for loyalty programs, it can be really helpful to measure how that lifetime value is being impacted by your loyalty program. So we might say, like, okay, we're going to invest in a loyalty program that is going to cost $100 per customer, but we're going to try and push that lifetime value from $700 to $850 because they're coming back and buying more stuff. So it's a way to get a good, solid return on investment for resources you're putting into building those relationships with customers. Okay, so now we know kind of like what it is and why it's important. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to show you, like, in a simple case, how do you calculate this thing, like really make it tangible? Because I think that's often what's missing in these type of conversations is, like, a consultant or a turkey like me gets on the webinar and starts talking about why you should know your lifetime value and makes you feel nervous about it, and it seems kind of like mystical. So I'm going to just try and demystify it a little bit here. So this is actually a real customer that I pulled out of one of our customers' data sets and anonymized the numbers a little bit. But the way you calculate lifetime value is you have to do it kind of one customer at a time. So remember when I said when I bought that microphone, I started at month 0 with that company. And it's the same thing for anyone at your store. When they come in and they buy their first thing, then they start the clock on their lifetime value. So for this customer with the catchy name of 578-228-158-4545, bought their first item in March of 2018. And thankfully, I didn't make these American dates, so my Dubai people on the line won't get disoriented by the months and days being reversed. So $154 were purchased in March. And the same customer ID 578.545, came back in May and bought another $390 worth of stuff. And you can see every so often this customer comes back and buys more stuff. And eventually, over the course of their lifetime, this customer has been worth $1,599 of profit. Okay, cool. So if we're going to calculate the lifetime value of just this customer, right, the first thing we would do is write a formula or write some code, in our case, that starts the clock for that customer and then calculates month since first purchase. So here's our March purchase and our May purchase, and we can see month since first purchase becomes a 2. So that's what would end up going on the x-axis of those curves that we looked at. So this customer has been active for 23 months. We've got profit running total, which looks like the y-axis of the curves we've been looking at. And now we've done it for that one customer. Congratulations. So pretty easy to do for like one customer. But, like some of our clients have tens of thousands, many tens of thousands of customers, and it becomes much more difficult to do. It's kind of one of the pernicious things about lifetime calculations is you can't just download data, dump it into Tableau, and, click lifetime value chart. Right, you've got to go through for each customer and do these calculations. But when you take the weighted average of all those customers, maybe it's tens of thousands, maybe it's hundreds, maybe it's millions, depending on the size of your business. Then you get a more smooth looking weighted average curve. And we're back to the beginning here of seeing, like, on average, if you look at, all the customers for this anonymized data set, the average starting order value is $400, and over time, the average customer buys another $300 worth of stuff. So, hopefully we didn't blow by that too fast. If you want to dig into more calculation stuff, feel free to hit me up after the webinar, and I will talk about this all day. I love this kind of stuff. But that's just the average lifetime value. Like if we did that for every customer, we get the average. But I'm sure for many of your stores, like the average customer is maybe not a thing. Maybe you have different types of customers you're servicing. Maybe you have customers who, have very different needs and very different marketing requirements. And that's where cohort analysis comes in really helpful. So this is some capability that we built at Bridgetown, specifically to address customer segmentation in lifetime value calculations. So, for example, one of our Shopify customers services both retail customers and professional tradespersons. And the cost of acquiring a tradesperson is a lot higher. They're a lot, they're a lot more in demand. They're a lot harder to find, and they're a lot harder to build loyalty with, as opposed to people just shopping, coming into the shop or going to their website. So the marketing costs are very different to acquire, a customer like you or me, and more in the retail space, versus in their case, it's like architects and interior designers and professionals. So looking at the average lifetime value is actually not helpful in that case, and that's where a cohort analysis is really powerful. So here's the cohort analysis we did for them. I've changed the numbers a little bit to protect the innocent, but the relationship is still valid between the different curves. So when we ran the numbers for the average, so this is actually the same average line we've been showing before that goes up to about $700 per customer. And we looked at retail customers, which is the dark blue line on the bottom, versus trade customers. And you can see very different behaviors between a retail customer and a trade customer. So not only do trade customers start with an average order value that's about 3 times higher, they have much higher repeat purchase value as well. So the average trade customer over the course of 2 years, is buying about $2,200 worth of goods. Whereas the average retail customer buys like one thing and then buys another like one thing over the course of 2 years. So, you can see the average is a lot closer to the standard customers or the retail customers because there's a lot more of them. But as they're trying to decide where to spend their marketing dollars, building that group of trades customers and being willing to invest, 3 times more marketing to acquire each customer in that space is actually a really good investment over time. Even though if you look at the cost per acquisition alone, the cost per acquisition would be a lot higher to acquire those customers. So, that's an example for their company. Maybe you've got some examples spinning in your head of like stuff in your company that you would like to understand how these lifetime values are different depending on types of customer. So I wanted to share some cohort type analysis that we currently support on our platform. So the first one I just showed you was customer type. And in that case, we actually used the Shopify tags. If you're a Shopify store, you're probably familiar with the Shopify tag system. So we've got a really slick text matching way to pull tags out and make them usable in BI analysis. And that's what you saw there between trade standard and average. Another very common one is month of first purchase. So for example, you might start a loyalty program today in April and want to know, okay, going forward, how's the lifetime value for customers that started in March versus customers that started in April? Like, is our loyalty program able to take that curve and make the slope steeper and higher over time? One that's pretty unique to Bridgetown right now is a product of first purchase. So it's, again, kind of a topic for another day, but we have a data model that allocates customers to products when they make their first purchase. And then you can kind of think of it as those customers are tagged as this customer was acquired because the first thing they bought was a onesie, if you have a baby clothing shop, or a baby blanket. So then we can actually do lifetime values for customers whose first purchase came through different product lines. Similarly, lifetime value via channel of acquisition. can be really helpful as well. So this is where our Google Analytics integration comes really in handy, because customers that you acquire via an email campaign, you might have a totally different lifetime behavior than customers you acquire via social media or via organic web search. And then finally, geographical is another thing that we support. So, you might find that the lifetime value of customers in Alabama is a lot higher than the lifetime value of customers in Arkansas. Why did I pick Alabama and Arkansas? I don't know. Probably because they both start with A. But we actually use the Shopify shipping address to do geographical analysis inside the platform. So those are some types that I've seen be helpful. Maybe the type that works for your company is one of those, or maybe it's a little bit parallel to those. But this is something that we've gotten really good at helping people figure out. So I think I just hit my 20-minute mark. That's about where I wanted to be for this. Keep it, hopefully tight and informational. And I hope that you got something out of the presentation today. And it was certainly fun to share this journey with you via webcam from the world headquarters of Bridgetown, which right now is kind of my closet as we're all stuck at home. So if you want to dig into how LTV calculations can improve your marketing efficiency and enhance your business, feel free to reach out to me directly. So you can get to me, Pete at Bridgetown.ai, if you want to have a talk about it. You can visit us at Bridgetown.ai and request a free demo, etc. That's a picture of me before I grew my quarantine beard, so I look a little more grizzled right now. And wow, I just want to thank all of you for joining, and I hope that you got some value out of it today.